All right, it is noon. I want to welcome everybody to this regularly scheduled commission meeting at a special time. At noon, it's Thanksgiving week, so for many years, traditionally, the city has had a noon meeting the week of Thanksgiving and the week of Christmas as well. I know that we have some staff that's taken off some extra time this week, so we just want to give everyone a fair chance to be out of here and spend time with their families, just like all of us want to. So let's begin today with the Pledge of Allegiance. If you would rise and join me.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, our first item of business today is to consider the minutes of the November 8th, 2022 work session and regular meeting. We'll need a motion to approve those.
I move for approval.
I second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Thanks. Item number 2 is to consider a request to use the parking lot behind 518 and 522 Main for a Christmas spectacular on December 18th, 2022. Denise.
Yeah, unfortunately, this mic is not working.
Okay, this is a request from the Gathering, and they are wanting to use the parking lot for a Christmas spectacular. It's just the part that's behind their building, and staff has reviewed this and is okay with that request.
I'd move that we approve that request.
A second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
I think it's spectacular that they're doing this.
Don't laugh, it encourages him.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Thanks. All right, item number 3, consider 2022 budget amendment publications and set hearing date and time. Donna?
Yes, good afternoon. The following 2 funds need to be amended for the 2022 budget year. It's the Airport Fund and the Golf Course Fund. Airport Fund needs to be increased due to the expenditures of Jet A and 100 lead fuel purchases due to cost and higher sales volume. And it has the revenue, extra revenue over budget to pay for this. And then the golf course needs to increase its expenditures in commodities, supplies for cost and usage because they have so much more of high volume of people coming through, and they do have the income to offset this as well. And capital outlay, they are also increasing that. With the extra funds, they're trying to pay for their own improvements instead of have the city pay for that. So it's coming out of the funds for the golf course. So the golf course is going up by $200,000 and airport by $100,000. And this is setting.
I think that's the
Other way around.
Oh, what did I say?
The airport by 200.
Airport is $200,000. That's what I get for doing it out of my brain instead of breathing it. We're setting this for, the hearing will be December 13th, 2022 at 7 p.m. here at City Hall.
And just for the sake of the public, it's due to the fact that they're just selling more fuel. They need to purchase more fuel, and the same with golf. They're selling more golf and need to do something with some of that money.
Exactly.
Okay. All right, any discussion or anything on that? If not, we'll have to have a motion.
So do we set the hearing date?
We need to have a motion to set the
Yeah.
hearing date
Okay.
for December 13th at 7 p.m.
Okay. I move that we set the hearing date and approve the budget amendment notice.
Second that.
All right, there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, item number 4 is Newton Public Library. First thing is to receive an update on the fundraising for the Newton Public Library project.
Yes, Commissioners. We have really good news. The fundraising committee, which is called the Campaign Leadership Committee, they volunteered their time to solicit donations for the library project. And the 2 that led this cause was Angela Becker and Ann Adrian.
and the library director, Carrie Kusick. She has helped with this as well. And the CLC committee has raised over $3.2 million of private funds that are committed towards the project. And that was a number as of last week. It may even be higher this afternoon. Carrie is here in the audience if you want her to speak to any of this. But I have some detailed information that I provided in the packet that over 1.4 million of those funds raised came from foundations, businesses, or organizations, and 100,000 was donated by North Newton. About 1.8 million of the donations were from individuals who support the library project. This to me is tremendous. They have done such a good job cultivating individuals that wanted to support this project, and really brought a great group of folks together and talked with individuals in the community and outside of the community to support this project here in Newton. And you asked them to put skin in the game, and they did. And we're really pleased about that. We also have, as you know, this project started 10 years ago. We started talking about a new library and have went back and forth on it. And then in November of last year, the City Commission approved us moving forward with the construction design. And then in May of this year, we came to you and kind of gave you an update on how the design process was going. The construction drawings are complete now, and they're ready to go out for the competitive bidding process. Throughout the design process, all of the estimating has continued. We used a third-party individual that also checked everything, looked at everything to make sure, was there any places where we could make some changes that would make it easier to construct. So that was in addition to the designer that was working on the project. HBM Architects, they do exclusively library projects, and they have worked on this project before. And they've done a great job teaming with Swanson and Company, who helped our CLC group with the fundraising. The plans are complete. What we're looking at now is a new 25,000 square foot library building that would be on the east end of Military Park. It'll have a new parking lot on the northwest side of the new building. And yeah, there's a picture on the screen that kind of shows the new building and the parking lot to the northwest of it. Following construction of the new building, the old building would be demolished and taken down, and there would be a large turf open space to the west of the new library building. Everybody asks, the engine that is there today, it will stay in place, and it's the library's kind of being tucked right in there, and the children's area inside of the library is on the south side inside, and there's a door that comes out to that area. There's going to be some things planned in the park in that area as well that ties in with the train. I think that's going to be a really nice addition to the park area. This whole layout provides for nice flow and well visibility from Broadway as well. The new structure will have a drive-up book drop-off, glass-walled study rooms, and some larger space. It's kind of in the middle there. It's a little hard to see on this, but these are the actual construction drawings this time instead of artist renderings for you. That just shows the interior and the spaces that are set up for all kinds of use. They've tried to keep everything very versatile. The library staff has been working with the designers to look at trends in libraries, and definitely the library board has been very involved with this process as well. There's going to be large meeting rooms that can be broken down in size, young adult space with gaming areas, separate space for children's books, collections of programs, technology areas, family restrooms, outdoor seating space as well. And I think this is going to be a great addition to the city of Newton. Today, I'd like to talk a little bit about money. We have, as you know, we looked at the cost of the project multiple times, and we know that the fundraising committee has done their part. They've raised additional funds, and the library had committed at one of our past meetings that they were going to provide an additional $1.2 million in cash towards the project if needed in order to cover the budget shortfalls. Because remember when we started this project, then we had a pandemic come into play, and some of the costs have risen. And definitely everybody involved with the project wanted to make sure that we built a new library that was going to provide for the community's needs and not shortcut anything, but also try and keep us all within budget. So what we're looking at now, and Donna has provided all of the bonding resolution paperwork that is here before you today as well for the total project. And a portion of these costs would be paid up front. So we're looking at roughly a $10.7 million with that includes all of the design costs, all of that phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3 costs that have already been paid in. The library's already paid in over $246,000 for that as well. And so this includes everything that bonds in would be for no more than $8.5 million. We need to take the construction drawings, put the project out to bid now so we see where we fall and where the exact numbers will be. And what we've laid out the project so that we have some add alternates and some deduct alternates that would be available here in the project. I've listed those out for you as well. We would make that decision once we have the bids come back. We're looking at a bid opening. If you approve the project moving forward today, we would go to bids December 21st. We'd be sending out all of the requests for bid information to any of the contractors that we think would be interested in the project, and to plan rooms that hold plans for these types of projects tomorrow. Get it in their hands early, and then we would receive bids on the 21st of December, and that would then come back to you for consideration at your noon meeting on December 27th. Remembering the city has committed $4.5 million towards the project and is intending to bond it. It's been in your CIP, the city's CIP, for at least 10 years now. Do you have specific questions? And if you do, myself or Carrie is here as well that could answer those.
All right now.
No.
All right, then we would ask that you approve the project resolution for funding and set the bid date as suggested.
I move that we approve the project resolution for funding and set the bid date.
I'll second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. All right, thank you.
Legal question, do they need to approve every item we have laid out on the agenda?
Back, I wasn't sure.
We should make a clear record on a clear motion. So yes, whether it's one motion or multiple.
Okay.
To be clear on the minutes.
I will make it clear.
Okay, very good, thank you. Thank you very much. You've got lots of folks here that are supporting the library today, and we thank them for all of their work on this project as well.
Thank you.
All right. Item 5 is for Full Vision. First item is consider a petition for sewer to serve Full Vision. Suzanne.
Yes, Commissioners. Full Vision properties that are located on Full Vision Drive, which is just west of Cow Palace Drive, which is south of US 50. Just to get a visual, if you were headed to the transfer station, we're down by the old landfill. Full Vision is on the west side of the road of Cow Palace Drive, and they approached the city here several months ago wanting to be annexed because they needed sanitary sewer. They are on a lagoon system now, and they are needing to be discharging to a sanitary sewer. In order for us to serve them, they needed to be annexed into the city, and then we need to extend a sanitary sewer main from the north side of US 50 down along Cow Palace Road to their facility. We will go up to the railroad tracks that would be on the south end of that extension. There is a petition that we have provided in the packet, and because this has the potential to serve others at some point in the future, should anybody else along this roadway choose to be annexed and want to tie onto sewer, there's several that have lagoons in that area. Because Full Vision has now been annexed, if they should choose to tie on at some point in time, they would be able to do that, but of course, the cost of the project, they would pay into the, a portion of the benefit district would be covered by them. The Full Vision is going to be paying 80% of the project. The City Commission were suggesting a 20% coverage by the city based on the cost-benefit analysis that's been provided by the Harvey County EDC. That is in your packet as well. Our development director has been working with Full Vision and our city manager on all of these issues. And so we have presented to you a petition today that in the packet was unsigned, but we do have a fully signed copy today. And this is step one in getting the sewer to full vision that is needed. So 20% of the cost of the sewer, it's approximately $695,000. Remember, this is a large sewer that has to go under multiple lanes of a state highway. And we've got to extend several hundred feet to the south. So the cost of the project, the city's portion would be 20%.
Need a different motion for each one of these items?
Yeah, if you could take them one by one, and we can talk about the other items as well.
Okay, first item is A, consider a petition for sewer to serve full vision.
I would move approval of the petition to serve full vision.
I second.
Okay, there's a motion, a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. All right, thank you. Item B, receive a cost-benefit analysis for the proposed expansion of full vision facilities. That is in our packet. We don't need to go through it, do we? If anybody has any questions, maybe.
Just receive the CBA.
I move that we receive the CBA.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion, a second. Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Thank you. Item C is to receive an application for a tax abatement. That as well as in our packet.
I would make the motion that we receive the tax abatement and note that it's only for the additional value that comes with that we're not abating anything that they're already paying right now.
Yes.
Just everybody needs to know that.
Improvements only?
Yes, and that's something that we haven't mentioned in this meeting today. You've heard this before, but they are wanting to expand their building as well as it exists today. And so that would be on the expansion.
Yeah.
I'll second.
Okay, there's a motion, a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Thank you. Item D is to consider a development agreement with Full Vision.
I'm happy to give you the broad strokes on that, but to the point that Commissioner Cry just raised and the overview that Suzanne provided, there's a development agreement between the city and Full Vision. City agrees to that cost share, extending the utilities, the sanitary sewer of the 20% share. That's memorialized in the agreement. The city also agrees to consider tax abatement on the expansion on the added value. Full Vision agrees to build a expansion facility of no less than 30,000 square feet, anticipated creating 3 full-time jobs per year for the first 5 years in operation to create 15 jobs. City staff recommends the development agreement as presented. Stand for any questions. I know Doug is here as well for any questions that y'all have. If there's no
We'll need a
question.
motion for that, yeah.
I'd make the motion that we approve the developers agreement.
I'll second that.
Okay, there's a motion, a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Thank you. And item E, our last one on this, is to consider a resolution of intent to grant tax abatements.
Right, exactly. And this is just the first step in the procedural process of constitutional tax abatement. It states the city's intent to grant tax abatement for the expansion of the facilities. Upon completion of the facility, we would come back with an updated or fresh CBA and an ordinance to consider to grant that tax abatement. City staff recommends approval of the resolution. And for anyone that's watching in the public, there were a couple just tweaks to that resolution that went out on Friday, but it's just more clarifiers specific to Rod's point about it is just to the new facilities. There's no tax abatement to anything existing.
Thank you, Chris. Resolution number?
G1295.
And move that we consider resolution G1295.
Second.
Second, okay. Any further discussion?
Excuse me.
Yes.
This is the first time I've been to a meeting. Can I speak to this?
Yeah, if you'd like to, you can come up and just state your name and if you would for us, and you can speak.
My name is Roberto Delgado. I'm a resident here in Newton.
Okay.
I'm also the president of Steelworkers Local 11228 out of Heston, Kansas. And so I hear that we're talking about creating new jobs. Have we considered the quality of those jobs?
If
Maybe
you-
better off for our attorney to answer, yeah.
Yeah, the development agreement anticipates the average starting wage for those jobs. That's included in the development agreement, and there should be information in the cost-benefit analysis as well.
I don't know what that is, or what that wage is, as well as benefits. Is that something I could take a look at?
We can get you a copy of it. First time I've been asked it, so I'm not sure how to answer it. I don't know.
It's in the packet
It's
out
in the
on the
packet.
website. It
public
says,
Mayor, I think Beth is here and
Beth,
she
yeah, yeah.
can to this.
Beth, why don't you come out, so we're, yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm the Director of Economic Development, and so each time that we do an expansion, we ask for the average wage, and so in order to receive incentives, you have to meet or exceed that NAICS code average wage standard for our location. So we do try to take into account the quality of the job, and then the incentives are based on that.
Okay.
So it's in the cost benefit.
Sure. And where could I get that information?
I can share that with you.
Wonderful.
Yeah, why don't, Beth can give you her email address maybe later, and then she can send it to you. Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you.
I would also add that I've personally toured. Anytime something like this happens, I like to do hands-on. I'm actually part of the Economic Development Commission too, so, and Doug runs a good ship. Welcome to Newton, Doug.
Okay, did we have a motion yet for that?
we had a motion and a
Motion and a
second.
second, okay. All right, motion and a second. Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. All right, thank you. All right, item 6 is to consider an amendment to purchase sales agreement to extend the GAF option to purchase real property from the city. And
I
Chris?
can cover this, yes, as well. You've seen this item before, just for the benefit of the public. City entered into an option with Tyndall to buy approximately 229 acres of property. City has an option to purchase that, no requirement. The city has also entered into a contract with GAF that gives GAF an option to purchase from the city. Those options have deadlines, and we have extended our option with Tyndall into March. The document that's before you, the amendment to the PSA, does the same thing. It extends GAF's option to March. I think I noted in the memo, those options can be extended at any time. If it needs to be extended beyond March, it would again come back to you to be agreed to in writing. I would stand for any questions on this, but it simply does that, doesn't change any other terms of those agreements.
Okay. All right, we'll just need a motion to approve that.
I move that we approve the amendment to the agreement.
I'll second.
Okay, there's a motion, a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Thank you. All right, item 7 has several items to it, but Planning Commission, the first one is to receive the recommendation of the Planning Commission zoning text amendment for Zoning Ordinances Article 6. And that is, Chris, are you taking that one? Suzanne and Chris together? Okay.
I can start, and
Yeah.
then Chris will finish up. Both of these items were heard, pardon me, by the Planning Commission at their last meeting. And both Articles 6 and 7 are making changes so that we are in line with state statutes, as I understand it. And Article 6 speaks to tiny homes, and Article 7 speaks to mobile homes. And we've included the changed language for the zoning code. And as I said, the Planning Commission, they voted unanimously to make these changes. And it basically removes the registration requirement for the tiny homes in Article 6 and the requirement for the mobile homes in Article 7.
As you recall, after you did the recodification of the zoning ordinances, there was a number of public feedback items. This is one of those items raising the question about the registration requirement that was in those zones. City staff agrees that that change should be made, and that's reflected in those ordinances. And I know that the Planning Commission is continuing to go through essentially just chapter by chapter, article by article to come back with other amendments.
Okay.
So we just need you, we kind of need you to follow ABC.
Yeah,
right?
for item A is just to receive the recommendation. We'll need a motion for that.
Make that motion.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Okay, thank you. And item B is to consider an ordinance amending Article 6 of the zoning ordinance. Ordinance number?
5102-22.
We'll need a motion and a second for that.
I move that we approve ordinance 5102-22.
One second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Thanks. Item C is to receive the recommendation of the Planning Commission zoning text amendment for Zoning Ordinances Article 7.
I would make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. All those, or any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Thank you. And item D is consider an ordinance amending Article 7 of the zoning ordinances. That number is?
5103-22.
I move that we approve ordinance 5103-22.
Okay, thank you.
I second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Thank you. All right, that takes care of the zoning stuff. And item 8 on our agenda is continued discussion of water and sewer utility rate adjustments. And Donna, are you going to take this one?
We're bringing some more information back to you and hopefully answering some questions that you had for us at our last meeting. I'm going to go through this quickly, but you can stop me at any time that you have questions. One of the questions we were talking about was the transfers to the from the utility funds to the general fund. And Newton has many nonprofits in the community that are exempt from property taxes, but they do pay utility fees. So it has been, past commissions have chose to use these utilities to help pay for the general fund services to keep the property taxes down. This is for things that everybody uses, fire, police, streets, parks, cemetery. But some of them do not contribute to the general fund through taxes. So this kind of transfers that burden. The impact to the general fund, the exempt properties total, the assessed value is about $40 million. The lost mill levy value to the city is about $2.5 million. So we transfer the amount of $1.1 million, $570,000 from each water and sewer. And then, so we're still short about $1.3 million for those tax exempt properties. And we have about 30% of our properties that are exempt. And these are just some of the charts we had for last time. Just, we want to make sure that everyone in the community has this information and that you see it again. The sewer rates, where we stand with the surrounding communities. And we want to talk a little bit about the base rate versus the usage. The base rate we have pays for the cost of the infrastructure. This is so that every user pays a little bit for all the piping, all the meters, everything to get that water or sewer out of your home. This is when you turn on the tap, you have good, clean, fresh, safe water. And this is what everybody pays for that. The additional usage, when you it is included in the base rate 200 cubic feet of water. The additional usage, when they see the other 100 cubic feet, like right now it's $5.95 for water, that is included, and that's for additional product, you can say. We just kind of wanted to make that differentiation there. We did kind of go through some of the cities that Mayor McBroom had mentioned last time, just so you can see those in writing. And then one of your questions was how many people pay or use less water than the 200 cubic feet per month. There's on an average, about 1,027 customers use 0 to 100 cubic feet. 1,031 customers use 100 to 200 cubic feet a month. That equals about 27% of our 7,500 customers. And Rebecca or Suzanne can hop in anytime I miss something. Now we have 2 sewer charges right now that we're kind of talking about. The one is the regular rate. And that pays for the operating budget expenses and debt service, payments for the projects that we have all over the city that we have to bond, loan payments we have. It does not pay for anything for the wastewater treatment plant project. That is what the plant upgrade fee pays for. That's the annual debt service payments on it, and it's also the extra payment we've been paying.
And remember, the plant upgrade fee, we had to do an upgrade to our plant because the state of Kansas said we needed to. And we got low interest loans to pay for the project. And the purpose of the project was to meet the changing regulations of our permit and to increase the capacity of the plant and to replace equipment and infrastructure that had outlived its useful life.
Suzanne, what is the capacity of the plant right now? Where is it running at?
What's it running at now? We're running right around, I'd say, 1.5 million-ish, and it will carry 4.4 million.
Okay.
That's regular flow. When it's high flow, it can go significantly higher than that.
Yep, sure. And high flow is like storm events.
If we have, yeah, and that sometimes confuses people because it is a wastewater treatment plant. It's for everything that goes down the drain, you know, out the washing machine, the sink, whatever, toilet, all of that. But those sanitary sewer lines that are running underneath the ground, a lot of those, the older lines are made out of old clay tile, and they're put together with joints and in sections. And at the joint where they're put together, oftentimes the clay tile, you'll have a bit of separation. And so when the groundwater table is high, or when you're getting a big rain event and that water is seeping in, oftentimes it will find the path of least resistance, which goes to that sanitary sewer line. And so you get groundwater or rainwater that has soaked in, and it ends up in the sanitary sewer system. And so then there's a big surge at the wastewater treatment plant that's much higher than on an average, in an average period. We've tried to do all kinds of maintenance where we've lined manholes, we lined sanitary sewer lines, just especially the ones that we know are in the worst condition, or replace those pipes so that the amount of inflow and infiltration is less. Many years ago, about 25 years ago, the city went through a process of trying to eliminate I&I. A lot of people had their sump pumps connected to the sanitary sewer, and that is against code here because we don't want that groundwater ending up into the sanitary sewer, because then it has to be treated, because everything that goes to that wastewater treatment plant that was on the previous slide has to be treated before it gets kicked out of the plant. And the state of Kansas reviews all of our sampling and everything from that, from the discharge from the wastewater treatment plant, because we don't want that mixed in with the other.
Thanks.
I can get there. And this is just a slide that we had last time, kind of showing you where we are with our payments and our interest saved for the plant upgrade. We did include, just left it in here, your option one that we did last time. This is for when we pay off early, 2026, and save money in the long run. And it showed what each small, medium, or large users would have to be increased for that. But we did want to tell you, this KDHE loan that we have is a low interest loan. It's at 2.83%. This is a state-offered funding subsidized to offset major improvements across the state for public water and wastewater improvements, infrastructure improvements. And the current inflation rate is at 9.1% right now. It hasn't been that way over the last several years, but it is there right at this moment. Traditional finance guidance shows that when the interest rates are lower than the average inflation, you don't save as much money when you pay off things early as you would if the interest was a lot higher. Just wanted to let you know that's why only $770,000 have been paid off to date when we paid $5 million down. But it is a very low interest loan, is why it's not going as fast as we would like.
What effect of them re-amortizing that loan every time you make that extra payment?
It doesn't help a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, the interest rate does stay the same.
The interest rate stays the same. Yeah.
But to your point, every time we make that extra payment, they re-amortize the entire loan. So instead of it being like your mortgage or your car payment where you're paying the same amount every single time, when they re-amortize, instead of being $1 million, maybe next time you're paying $775,000.
Yeah.
so it's not paying down the principal as quickly.
That is one reason they do that, I guess. They really don't want you to pay these off early. You know, they're a subsidized help to a community.
The other thing I want to mention, because I don't think we did at the beginning, the PowerPoint that's on the screen will be available. It's right alongside this. It'll be available on the website, and it's available for anybody that wants to see this and anything previous from the previous presentation that was done as well. That's why we're repeating some of the slides, repeating some of the options, so that people don't get confused. When you're talking about option 1, option 2, we want them to remain the same.
Right. And this is the same, the first option 1 water rate increase that we showed last time. That's why I wanted to include it in here for you. And this was the total bill combined. They're very hard to read. I realize that they're small. So we took the bottom here and we added in the trash as well. And this is what the total option 1 sewer, option 1 water, and the trash would be each year. Now, this is answering some of your questions you had for me last time. In the blue, you had asked me what revenue would each rate increase bring in annually. So I have taken that out, and it shows in the blue how much each year will be. On this option here is sewer option number 3, is a new one I want to offer to you because if you're concerned about the sewer or the rate increases together. So we're offering a wraparound where we go down on sewer a little bit and incorporate in a raise in the water and try to stay, we can't get to net zero, but we can get there a little closer. And with these 2 options, we also just eat into our reserves as we slowly build up some of the sewer or water rates.
You said this one is sewer option 3.
This is sewer option 3.
Okay.
And then we're going to have a new water option 2 on this coming up. But I wanted to show you on this one in the green, these are the contingencies that we have not included so that when we're looking at cost, we don't increase the rates according to contingencies that we have in the budget. We have to have contingencies in the budget to cover things that just happen to come up or once every so often come up, but we don't want to raise the rates on a contingency. So that is what we have taken out. In the case of sewer, it's $158,000 we've lowered. And then the yellow is the ending balance. And then the orange is, according to policy, what kind of reserve do we have to have? It's 5% of our budget expenditures for that year. And that's all the different colors, so you can kind of see them a little better. And what you want to look at is the one that says excess deficiency of revenues. As you can see, we're still in the negative, or we're eating into our reserves, and these are with the new rates. But it does come out about 2026. And then we go to the water with the same questions answered on that. And you can see here in the excess deficiency of revenues here, we're in the negative. We're eating into our reserves so that we don't have to raise rates so high.
And Ms. Donna, can you go back for me for just a second? Just to reiterate, this is the new water option 2.
Right, the new water option 2. And these do go out to like 2029, but you can't see anything on here if we go that far. So we have that information, and you have that information already, but we wanted you to be able to see it a little bit better.
So what were the 38% was to cover the bond payments?
That was the bond payments and the extra payment.
And the extra
At the
payment.
wastewater, plant.
So what was the original bond payment?
$1.6 million is what it started out with,
Started out. So what is the current bond payment?
$740,000. So we've cut our debt service in half, at least, and saved $770,000 right now. And both of these options
In
in interest.
Interest costs.
Right.
Both of these options do not include paying off the loan. They just keep it and pay it off in 2033.
Right, that's not my question. So
Okay.
it seems to me that if our payments have been reduced from 1.6 annually to 700,000, annually. Okay. Where'd that 900,000 go?
Extra principal payments.
Well, she said that the 38% was to incorporate not only the payment, but the extra. So the original annual payment on the bond was 1.6,
That was back in 2016.
but the 38% covered that.
Well, they paid $1 million to get it down even lower from that. It's,
How much does the 38% bring in each year?
let's see here. It brings in about $2,100,000. Of that, we take out $288,000 at least for that increase that we're paying, that the customers aren't paying, the $1.59 for that.
Right, so that means that out of that 38%, we're 200 and how many thousand?
288,000
288,000.
goes into revenue.
So that is already eroding that 38% because that is a rate increase that we are covering on behalf of the public
Right.
out of that 38%. So
Right.
there's already that much wiggle room sitting in that 38%. So 700,000 annual payment for your bond.
792 right now, and that will probably go down about 40,000 a year once we pay this next payment we just paid this month.
So 792,000 plus the 288,000 is just over $1 million. So where's the other
The other-
1.7 of the 38%?
The other $1 million goes into savings to pay the payment the next year.
Okay.
And then we also have 150,000 that goes into a reserve to pay the plant expenses if something breaks.
Okay. So we know that we have that extra $1 million sitting there that is either going to be applied towards
For the 23 payment or
the 23 payment
not.
or not.
That's
Right.
part of the bond requirement.
We also have,
Stay ahead.
well, we
seemed
do
like-
have a payment and a half
Yeah.
in reserves that we have to have there because of the conditions of the loan.
But we already have that covered.
We already have that. That's not included in this. I mean, it was included in the total. We showed you where he spent the whole thing since we've got it. But
Have
that's
they
not
re-
in your yearly thing.
Have they reduced that requirement since our payment amortization? So in theory, at some point in time, there ought to be a balance and enough in there to pay the balance.
That's what's going to, yeah, that will pay the final payment.
And they require how
Last
much?
year.
One and a half?
We have 1.8 million saved.
Right. But they require 1.5 payments? Well, if our payment's gone from 1.6 to 7.5,
Right.
that requirement's already gone down.
It
Yeah.
should, but.
It should, but
Is it a percentage or is it a monetary amount?
It's a number, I think, a fixed number.
So is it an application that we just need to make the request that they release us from the original amount because of our new re-amortized amount?
I'll have to talk to them at the state.
I think
and
it's
see.
an admin function that's all you have to do.
We'll see.
You sure find out?
Okay. And this just kind of reiterates the contingencies that we withheld from the total so that we could calculate the rate increase. But the things we did cut from the budget are actual cuts, like transfers to our capital reserve. These are payments that we put in capital reserve to pay for projects that we don't have to bond, and we don't have to spend interest paying for them off over 20 years. So this really helped us to pay for a lot of things.
Yeah, anytime we bring something to you in the financial section of the memo that comes to you, we talk about how it's paid, and those that we're saying we're going to pay from cash are coming from those reserve accounts where we've transferred funds over so that we aren't having to pay the interest on the bonds. Typically, it's like a sanitary sewer lining project or manhole lining project or something like that. Or it could be like emergency repairs that have to get done for storm sewer blowouts or something like that.
But I just wanted to list that here for you so you could see it. And then this shows the wastewater option 3 that we're talking about. It's, we stop the extra payment, it's the wraparound increase with the water, and we spend down our reserves somewhat. And this we put the change in red in here so you could see how it's different. It goes down the first year because we're going away from the 38% and keeping the rate at just 25%. And then it goes back up each year a little bit. Whoops. And then we show the water rate option 2, which is, we lowered the rate. If you remember, the option 1 we showed you was 9.5, 9.5, 9.5, and then something. I've done this so much, I don't remember what the fourth one was. But this one we've lowered to 9, 8, 8, and then 10. And you can see the increases are a little bit going up there. And this one spins down the reserves as well. And then we put it all together. We add in the trash at the bottom to show you what your bill would be. And then here is the first year, everybody goes down a little bit, and then they go back up. And then we get to kind of what we need to do next is the survey questions. We need to ask, maybe a question would be do we want to pay the plant loan early? And if they say yes, then we'll ask them, are you willing to pay a little higher rate to do that? Because that's what's going to take. And if they say no, then they don't have a second part of the question. And then if you have any other ideas of things we should ask instead.
Still disappointed to see that there's nothing in here about what we can do for cost-saving measures. This option here is, this survey question is, one, you're forced into one thing. Pay off the plant loan early? Sure. What is your willingness to pay a higher rate? Well, I guess if you're going to twist my arm behind my back, I have to. Or if I say no, I don't want to pay off the plant loan early. Okay, then you're going to pay $1.3 million more in interest. Twist my arm behind my back again and make me do it. Why, when this was originally presented, the only options given to us were options to increase and nothing to decrease?
Because we cannot afford it, Clint.
What can we not afford? Do you think our citizens can afford it?
Our expenses have increased just like theirs.
Yeah, and you know what? We transfer 5.8% of our budget, and I'm pretty fired up about this if anybody hasn't been able to tell yet, because I've justified for the past 3 years sitting on the commission, and I've said, oh, there's a small increase. It's $10, it's $12, whatever it is a month. I've made up excuses, and I said, okay, if $10 or $12 is your problem, the problem isn't the fact that we're raising. But our $10 or $12 over the past 3 years is now costing our citizens a lot more than $10 or $12 a month. And what we're saying is we're okay with that. So I've collected emails, and I have 7 pages of emails from our citizens here in the community, and they don't want the increase. And I'll read all 7 pages if I need to, because I'm tired of our citizens coming and saying something and then just disregarding. I don't think it's fair. 5.8%. With inflation, 5.8% of our, no.
5.8%.
Hold on, I'm going to finish.
I think you might have the wrong, 5.8% is how much?
We transfer out, and the transfer out makes up 5.8% of our general budget. And this is my point in this. Our general budget is 50, what is it, 60?
50, like 55 million.
55 million. We'll go with that number. I'm fine with that. 55 million. We're talking about 5.8% of it is the transfer in.
Of the revenue.
Of the revenue, right. Okay, my point, I've had to find 5.8% in my budget with our current economy to cut. And I feel like if I can do it, the city can do it as well. It means that my wife and I have both delayed purchasing a new car, even though I need one. We've delayed that. I would love to have an upgraded cell phone, but I choose to use an old one because I don't want to take on additional expenses. Those are the things that we're having to do in our own homes. And I don't think it's fair that the only options that we have in front of us, the only options are an increase to the citizens.
We don't have the option to not do something, though. A lot
Oh,
of
we
this stuff
do.
is mandated.
Yeah, we do.
We have to do it.
We have, what's mandated, that we increase rates to our customers?
That we pay for things that we have to have for our permits.
Yeah, well, we're going to have to figure out another way to do it if it's up to me.
Sometimes that's not feasible.
Well, it wasn't feasible either for my family to decide to make the financial decisions that we've had to make, but I'm having to do it. And sometimes the tough thing is what you have to do. And the tough thing right now, I think, is that we're going to have to figure out a different way to save money instead of increasing. You know, the city originally asked for 12 mils increase. We voted for 8, and it feels like the city's going to get the 12 mils at the end of this. I can't believe still that we're here today and there's still no other options for any cost saving. And I've said that for 2 weeks now. And I'm finding out today for the first time, our minimum usage users, 2 weeks to get that answer. I'm finding out today for the first time. I don't think it's very difficult to go back and look on the billing and say who gets billed the minimum.
When you have 7,000 different accounts, it is difficult. You have to take an average of the whole year. Everybody doesn't use the same amount every month, Clint.
Well,
You
okay,
have to
this is
look
a
at
pretty
all of
big
that
deal.
as an average.
This is a pretty big deal.
And we got you the information.
You did today, but I haven't had any time to review it until now. We're seeing this for the first time right now.
And you don't have to make any decisions. This is all information.
No, originally you wanted us to make a decision by the first meeting in December, but I think everybody realized that was a bad idea. So now we're being told we have a few months to make this decision. We've got to figure out something else, and raising the cost of water to our customers doesn't work. I'm debating on whether or not I should start reading my 7 pages of notes from families.
I guess my question is, and I believe that this decision needs to be made prior to setting the city's budget rather than after. That's my frustration with this process is we set the budget and now we're coming back and being asked to change rates to make that budget work, or it seems backwards.
On the amount of money that is transferred, and again, based on the emails too that I am reading, there was one suggestion in those emails, and I thought it was good. What about a moratorium on this? What about letting this go a year? And that is because citizens are reacting on the heels of an 8 mil increase. And I know that's going to affect us too. It affects everybody. So my question is, if we put this aside for a year, do you, this percentage that you are transferring to the general fund, is it set as a certain percentage? How do you arrive at that amount? And can you change that? Can you, what would you need to do to accommodate for a necessary increase? And I'm really more particularly talking about water, because I had some thoughts on the sewer. I'm not sure the thoughts that I have are exactly like this, but as far as that is concerned, water, what can you use or reduce that transfer? I'm going to look to you to.
The transfer is $570,000. It's been that for the last several years from each utility, from water and sewer.
Okay.
That is set in the budget. It's something that we don't, that is up to you guys if you say not to do it. Our budgets will just be that much off for '23. We are set for '23. We can get through '23. And if we decide not to do the payment, we have that extra money sitting there. But it would just have to be a decision that you guys make.
So I do agree with Commissioner Stennett about this. This is, so having said that, and in agreement with that, and when you just said what you just did, let me get back to that. Are you saying that we could do that now, not transfer this? You said we're set for '23. Is that me including this?
It's in the budget, but the budget is a guideline, and you can change it. You can't change like the revenue part coming in, like property tax and stuff like that. That's set.
Right.
That can't
Okay.
change. But if you decide to do something different than what we have, that is up to you to do.
So,
But you have to think the ramifications,
well, and so not transferring this then to the general fund does create an issue for the general fund. And that's not the topic of discussion. We've had an 8 mil increase, and so I think everybody's needing to get over that. And that's going to take some time. I'm hearing from people that are receiving tax statements. I briefly looked at mine, then I put it back in the envelope because I'm not ready to deal with it yet. And I do want to say, some of the emails that I've gotten, folks indicate that they think that the commission is sitting here all cushy and that somehow this doesn't affect us. Well, I want folks to know it does affect us. And that's just for the record. It affects us. It's not going to change. We're just with everybody else. We're simply a representation of the community sitting right up here at this bench. So having said that, what would it look like if we didn't transfer this?
General fund would be short $1 million, basically.
So then we have a certain amount that comes from sales tax that goes into help. Is there anything in that area that could probably be a Band-Aid for this year?
Let's not cost our customers or our citizens more money.
Well, I'm not.
That's what a sales tax does.
No, I'm not. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, do we have extra funds in the sales tax fund that we can use to take care of this otherwise transfer? Does that make sense? So we don't transfer from the utility as we normally would. Can we make up some of that million that's a loss to the general fund from some, because we do have sales tax dollars that we do put over in general fund. So do we have any sort of cushion in the sales tax fund that we could use instead of this?
Well, by law, our ordinance, 1/2 of the additional has to go over to the Economic Development Fund. That, I guess, could be changed by you all by changing an ordinance to change that, but that was how it was set up originally.
Yeah. So the first sales tax, the first 1%, that all goes to.
That all goes to the.
Right. And then the second one is basically split between general fund, EcoDevo, and
Infrastructure.
and infrastructure. Okay. So we're really, and of course, when we worked on the general fund, the budget, that included all of the dollars that were in that first 1%, and then that which came over on the second 1%. So that's according to the ordinance that we have set. Is that correct?
Right, but those monies go and pay for bond payments and
Yes,
stuff for infrastructure that we have out of that too, and.
Yes, okay. So that's where my concern is setting this back. I think, I understand, I have to say, when I was on the other side of this bench, as a citizen that attended these commission meetings, I was very critical. I was certainly able to be very critical. Now, on this side, I see things that open my eyes to a number of things. And it's not as easy as it may look. So that's why I'm looking to you all, though, as far as helping us out on this, because we are here in representation of the citizens, and so we do need to be doing our very best. And if there's something different, and when these kinds of things, when I see this, I'm compelled to think that maybe we can do something else with this, or we can manage this a different way. And again, I'm not going to be the expert here, so I'm looking to you all for that. So in short, can we do a moratorium, I guess if that's the word I want to use for this? And what would we need to do to change this transfer? What would we need to do? And then, I guess then the question, and I'm going to look to some comments or support or not support from the rest of you. Some of you are more expert in numbers than I.
I think we need to look at everything. I do want to point some stuff out, though. You guys were hired into this problem. You didn't create
Yeah.
the problem. And it kind of feels like it's your fault coming from the bench up here. I don't think Clint even thinks it's your fault. We were elected into this problem. It was here when we came. It's up to us to deal with it. For the $200 a month we're getting, we're trying really hard, and we know you're trying really hard to figure out how to solve this problem. But there is no short-term solution
No.
to this problem. The fact of the matter is, I just want to ask people, how many of you have watched a podcast I've done on Newton Digital, Harvey County Digital? Probably no one? Okay. How many of you have watched the August 23rd presentation that I did that's on Facebook that talks about how taxes work and why we're in the position that we're in right now? Have you watched it? Very good for you. This is where we're at right here. I mean, in the last 10 years, there's been $30,000 added to the value of a mill, and only $1,983 of that came from economic development. I mean, we've been, like we didn't wake up and have this problem. It's here. It's been here for a long time. And, there's a lot of things that the city has done. It's put us in a position where we are changing the culture from the outside world that has created a pathway to better economic development, and bringing in new industries and creating the atmosphere that allows communities that are here to grow. But we didn't get here overnight, and we're not going to solve this problem overnight. And we can get mad at each other and get angry and raise our voices and make people feel bad when we talk to them. But the problem is here, and we got to figure out how to bridge that gap between what we have going on right now. We're going to have 10 years of just really difficult talks. I mean, even if we're not here, the commissioners that are sitting here on here right now, it's still going to be a tough road until we get that assessed value up to the point to where we aren't having these types of issues and these types of talks, because that's the key to the whole kingdom right there, is promoting economic development for several reasons. I mean, on housing, if you had watched my videos, every year the county appraiser appraises your house at a number, and that's the fair market value, and then 11.5% of that becomes assessed value, and it goes into a pool where you pay a percentage of whatever the city's budget is. But 25% of the fair market value of commercial and industrial property is what their assessed valuation is. So you can close that gap. I mean, all of the pressure has been put on housing in this town in the last 15 or 20 years to pay for inflation, cost of living increases, and if you don't have commercial and industrial growth, then the people that live in houses just get screwed. It's just the way it is. Or you can accept the fact that you're going to be mediocre for the rest of your life as a community, and all the people that can afford to move, because they don't want to live in a town that's going backwards. And that's been happening here for what, 15, 20, 25 years? And we've worked really hard to put ourselves in a position where we can grow this community the right way. And we've started doing regional economic development. We've set up a community development commission that's working real hard with economic development. I've worked with Pam at the chamber to set up an e-commerce committee that makes gap funding for new businesses coming to town. We're creating partnerships to make things better. And I think we just need to turn it down a notch here and figure out how we're going to make this thing work. I mean, and I'm sorry, I know you're feeling attacked right now, and you didn't create this problem. It's not your fault. And and I've seen and talked to people that the city, I mean, we have a culture of, do we really want to spend the money on this? It's not like we're printing money here and just spending whatever we want. We got a problem, and we got to sit down at the table and figure out how to bridge that gap, because with everything we have going on right now, you know, we have maybe somewhere between $280 and $320 million worth of new stuff getting ready to come to Newton right now, and we haven't had any of that. And that's just commercial and industrial. And I feel your pain too. I mean, when I first moved here, when I paid my utility bill, I wrote on there punishment number 10, my 10th month, and you know, I'm kind of a smart ass, and I thought, well, that's kind of cute, but I didn't get much of a response, so I quit doing it. And then when I sat back, I mean, I've sat back and watched this ever since I've been here. You know, this community hasn't, it's no one's fault. I mean, there's no one person or no one group that got us into this mess. I mean, even you voters have a part in that. You know, I mean, if you don't take the time to study what it is that you're bitching about, then how can we even have a decent conversation with you? I mean, I understand and I feel your pain, and I know that some of the stuff we do, it hurts the elderly. It helps the people in poverty the most. And but the fact of the matter is, you know, as long as we continue trying to solve problems in the short term and don't keep hyper focused on that long-term vision, yeah, you know, we're just going to shoot ourselves in the foot. We just got to figure it out and roll our sleeves up and get with it. So.
I agree with most of what you're saying, but when it takes 2 weeks to get information and I still don't have everything that I asked for, which was where would some cuts come from, it's hard to make any decisions. And as far as economic development's concerned, I think the 8 mil increase and an increase in utilities doesn't do much to spur economic development.
It hasn't done anything to hurt it so far.
Well, because we haven't had it long enough, Rod. We haven't even increased the rates yet. We have, the 8 mils hasn't even gone into effect yet.
Well, here's the deal.
No, hold on. If I can go, if there's 2 stores across the street from each other, or even down the road from each other, and I can get the same product, same brand, same everything at 2 locations, I'm going to go to the place where I can save a few bucks. Mm-hmm. And we know that. That is not, that's not rocket science. And again, I go back to the fact that I haven't got the stuff that I've asked for yet.
Yeah.
I'm met with resistance when I ask questions and when I push something forward, and I'm tired of it. And you know, when I've said every time we've talked about these survey questions, I don't think those 2 questions are going to be enough. I think we need more on there. They're not on there.
This is just to get your ideas. You haven't.
Okay, Donna, but I've given the ideas. How come they're not on there?
I haven't heard you give me any ideas on.
Well, I think that all of these ideas need to come from all of us, and you haven't, I mean, that's what you're waiting on, is what I'm taking. Yeah. Rich, what you were starting to say.
I was going to say, well, the fact of the matter remains, rates have already increased. Our population just doesn't know it, because we're covering it and we're making that payment for them. So I think that's the first thing that we need to do, is we need to come clean and say that 38% surcharge is actually a 33% surcharge that covers the bond payment and the extra bond payment, and 5% of that covers your 2015 and your 2016 rate increases that we put on there and we're covering for you. So I think we need to come clean on that. We've already increased rates, right?
Yeah.
It's just not showing up on the bill where people realize that the rates have already gone up. So I think we need to come clean on that, because in fact, that 38% is broken down into 33% covering the bond and interest, as well as, and that 33% comes down to 14% of it covers the bond and interest, and 18% of it covers the extra bond payment.
Right.
So I think we really need to be transparent on this to let people understand where their money's going, and the rates have already increased. It does nobody any favor, especially 5 years down the road when we're having the conversation about it, that it's not where it needs to be. So My question is, and it's right along line with I think where Commissioner Valentine was going, is what is the urgency to make a change today? Because we don't have the information, as the mayor is saying. He doesn't have the information that he needs to make a decision today. Where's the urgency to us to raise the rates today or to make any changes today? We've established the 2023 budget, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we could continue these discussions and continue peeling this onion up until we establish the 24 budget.
We're just spending down reserves as we go.
Well, that's where you start figuring out how to not spend down the reserves and start making those cuts,
Which we have been doing the last 5 years.
I understand. So
I'm-
I'm not going to get my pencil out and tell you where to cut things.
And we've got our pencils out and we've cut, and now we don't know what to cut next because it's going to interfere with the services.
And that's the part of the transparency that says, you know what? City staff to the public, we've cut as far as we can. Any more cuts are going to affect services or personnel, and that's a message from y'all that it's just now starting to bubble up. And it's only under these questions that's.
Well, we've talked about this, though, in all our budget hearings and stuff. We've told you how much we've already cut each time.
We increased 8 mills, though, because we didn't want to cut.
We did,
Well, we increased 8 mills because we
Because of economic development, and we didn't want to cut.
reserves for the last 5 years. You can't manage a city and all of the services with no increases for 5 years. You're going to end up using something. I mean, things go up, and we've watched our reserves tank. And I know Commissioner Cry talked about, this is not short term. Sometimes I think we might spend so much time trying to analyze and think and through, and where did just common sense go? And I'm going to just speak for myself. I think common sense was lacking. I'm speaking for the whole. When we reached the point that we had to do 8 mills. So now we are here, and we are not helping open wounds, so to speak, of citizens who are reeling from yet another increase. That's why, now as far as information, I feel like I have enough information. That's why I'm asking about, as far as the water portion, as far as the sewer, yes, that's transparent now as far as we have been picking up that extra. So I'm just going to ask, I like that idea. I know we committed to pay the loan off early, but I am willing to, because we did not anticipate some of the things that were going to come down the road. So I'm willing to look at that and say, can we use that, pay the debt like you're paying it instead of the additional payment, use that, and that would help the sewer portion of the bill and not our citizens not have to see an increase. So I guess I'm understanding if you increase the rate, you've decreased the 38%. So the bill should look about the same. It's just the amounts will be greater here and less here. Is that a fair, accurate statement?
yes,
For the most
depending on
part.
which option you
Yeah.
looked at.
Well, I'm just looking at and I know, the option to just use that 38% for rate increases and
Not pay
just
the extra.
pay the debt and not pay the extra.
Yeah.
And again, it's on my bill too, and I would have liked to have seen that loan paid off early, but I think the position that we're in calls for some just good common sense thinking. You can't, I can't advocate for paying the debt off early and jacking up the rates. I can't do that.
Yeah.
And so I think we can hopefully that we can come to a good consensus on the sewer portion of this bill. I think that's a good route to take. That's my opinion, my thoughts. And in my email responses to citizens, I have told them this is what I am thinking about. I've not made any commitments. I have simply given the suggestion that that's what I'm inquiring about. As far as the water, that's going to take a little bit more thought, and I'm just asking, can we put that portion off until we get somewhere down the road, and it's not going to it can't be too long, and I don't know what we need to do about making up that shortage unless we don't transfer this money over. I'm throwing that out to you.
Okay.
I appreciate what you do, and I know that this is a chunk, and you weren't counting on that, but when you give us the information, thank you, I appreciate it. Now we have something to look at and what to think about. And I think on the water, that's what I would ask.
And if we don't, it's up to you all, can always tell us not to make that payment, like in '23. So we don't have to make that payment in '23. We could hold off and just do more research until you feel comfortable about the rates.
The transfer payment, the transfer for the, okay.
No, the extra.
Are you talking about the extra payment?
payment,
Yes,
yeah, we can-
I'm certainly advocating for not making that.
Can that just go back into utility operations then if we don't use it for payment?
But-
There's no statutory limitation.
No, this is all us. We've decided that. The commission has decided that in the past. So you just change what the commission wants to do. But the crux is that we're still taking the 38% from people. So we need to, if we change rates or something, we're going to have to look at moving that back down some. That's what option.
Well, yeah, so if
Three
you
was
give
bringing
a
those down a little
3%
bit.
increase in sewer rates, let's just use that as a number, then that means the plant upgrade fee then is now at 35%. Would that be?
Well, but we
somewhere.
don't have to decide right away if we
No,
don't
but I
have to
mean,
make the
as an
payment.
example to our public, those are here and those who are listening, is that
Yeah,
probably a pretty simple way to explain?
We could,
Yeah, because that's what I've tried to explain in my emails to residents. And so, and I've told them, when you're trying to explain something in writing like that, that's very difficult. And I don't always do well at I do better in person. So that's where I'm at with the sewer portion of that bill. And then as far as the water, that's what I'm asking. What do we have to do with, if the commission would agree
you would just tell us not to transfer that.
not to transfer? So that might help the utility fund, particularly the water, but it will help the sewer because it's half and half. But then we have to figure out how
general
to
fund.
solve the shortage in the general fund.
Kind of like the dominoes.
Yeah, I understand.
And I understand what you're saying, Kathy, and I appreciate sort of a roundabout approach to get there. To me, the crux of the whole thing, though, is that what's got us in this place? Why are we here today? Why are we having this discussion today? Well, I think that the service or the cost has far exceeded the growth. We're upside down. It's like somebody that buys a car that's worth $20,000, but they buy it for $30,000. And that can't be fixed without making a change. So my point is that, sure, not paying that extra payment helps some of this problem. I think the transfer is the biggest thing, but not making the extra payment does help fix the problem of not having enough in there. But it doesn't fix the problem. The problem is that what we're spending in these departments has exceeded the income in those departments, which income is going to go up with what you're saying with businesses coming, with economic development stuff. But
I think.
yeah, we have a couple projects on the horizon, but they're not done deals yet.
Can I respond to the water? Okay.
Sure.
So you're asking what?
I'm old, though. I'll forget if you don't hurry up. I was going to say.
Write a note down.
Okay. Well, 2015 was the last time we had a water increase. Is that correct?
Yes.
That's, okay. So again, our citizens love it when we say, no tax increase, no water increase. They love it when we say that. And as long as we'll go, they'll appreciate that. Because I've been out there on that side and I understand that, and yes.
But we're still higher than
But-
everyone else around us,
But
though.
we can't think in terms
majority.
of that. We are having to keep our focus on Newton. So when you go that many years,
Wait, hold on,
and then
no.
all of a sudden, I know that you mentioned that in some time back, we need to probably be talking about water and sewer, and no, we didn't want to do that. And so and the same thing goes with taxes. When you go that many years without, if you're looking down the road and you see what's coming, it's probably not good common sense to say no tax increase. And when you do that for 5 years, like I said, I'm going to say it again, I had people say to me when I went to them to give them the heads up on what was coming, why, Kathy, you haven't done us any favors. Why didn't you do something? And so I'm saying that in answer to your comment, because part of this is going all these years and then now, boom.
Because
So-
I think every other year, people have said the same thing when this conversation came up. Why are we having to pay more? And so did them a favor by not increasing it when we're already paying more than other cities our size or neighbors? Or Rod, you're right. I mean, we're right in the middle for water rates, but sewer, we're on the way high end of it.
Yeah, with the
And so
But that's because
we're
of
not
the
doing
plant
anybody a
upgrade
favor
fee.
by increasing. We're doing them a favor by doing what we said we would do. And it's paying off that loan early, and that gives the customer some relief, and we keep moving forward with that plan. And if our spending has exceeded our income, we got to make a change to it. And it's not on the backs of the citizens of this community.
Well, I think one of the
Either way it is, that
questions-
this options, all the options are presented, including waiting on paying off the debt, is still on the backs of the citizens because it's going to cost them $1.3 million more in interest.
I think one of the questions on the survey would be then, are you still in favor of seeing the debt paid down? And I'm not going to word this perfectly. This is just off the cuff. Would you be in agreement with using, instead of paying the debt off, would you be in agreement with using that monies that was going to pay the debt off early for rate increases? Because I know I would. And you talk about other places, Wichita's going to go through this. They just, if they haven't already, they're going to be going through this. They're going to have a plant upgrade fee. Their bill's going to go up.
A 6% increase, and they're still lower than us,
Well,
even if we make no changes.
I guess we could all move to Wichita.
Well, that's what our citizens are going to start doing.
And I'm saying that, I honestly don't.
It's really not.
It's not. No, it's not.
I'm
But-
sorry if I spoke up.
No.
You can laugh, though, if you want to.
It's not.
Yeah.
But honestly, we have to keep our mind and our focus on here. We have to deal with what we have here.
Well, hold on, we're not ready for public comment just yet. Give us a minute to keep discussing.
Well, I wanted to, not respond to what you were saying, but the reality is still, we're transferring $500-some thousand out of each one of those, and the reason we're doing it is because we don't have the assessed valuation that we need.
Yeah, I know.
And we're using that as a plug to that general fund, and until we fix that, we're going to be talking about this every year.
I know.
And that's the communities that it's, you can call it spending, and I think you and I could probably go in there and cut if we wanted to. We could figure out something to cut, but the reality of it all, it's that transfer that it's the lack of tax revenue that's causing it. If the tax revenue goes up, then that number can go down, and I would say that 30% of the not-for-profits, that's an unusually high amount. That's a kick in the pants,
Yeah,
but
it
we
is.
do have some economic benefit from those being here too. But we are where we're at, and we just have to figure out, some combination of whatever to make it work. And I would say the staff gets me everything I need fairly
Well.
quickly. So,
I'm waiting, so.
yeah.
Donna, on the water thing, I know you said it was around 288,000 for the sewer portion as far as
No,
the,
wait a minute. The 288,000,
okay.
not on the water, you said water.
No, well, but I'm using one as an example. So
Okay.
for the sewer thing, is it 288,000?
That's the
A year.
$1.59 and the $1.59
Right.
from 17 and 18 that we transfer
Okay.
up into the revenue.
So if you calculated something similar for the water and just didn't transfer that much.
Okay.
Does that make sense? So what would it be for the year, I mean, I don't ask you to figure that out right now, but for the year 2023, something similar with regard to the water
Take out a rate increase from the transfer.
transfer. So, yes, that still hurts a bit, but still some of that's going over. So then that, whatever that amount is the amount that we would have to deal with regard to a shortage in the general fund.
You mean the part of the 570
Yes,
that comes from water?
yes,
Right.
yes, yes, because I know the other part is for the sewer.
If we just did something like we talked about here, the first year of the is it 9%, I think, on the water, it comes about $389,000. So that's, you're saying, take the 389 out of the 570 to increase it. That would
Yes,
pay for
if
that
it's the
increase.
9, and I
Well-
guess then the question is, is it the 9? I guess, do we need to decide on that percentage as well? I mean, go
Yeah.
ahead, Rick.
Right.
Yeah.
And by having this conversation after the budget conversation, you're asking the water utilities and the utilities to carry the full brunt of the increase instead of having the general fund carry any of the reduction.
That would be what you would be asking.
Effectively.
That's what we're doing, effectively. You know. So I like that idea of having the increase to the, because we have to realize the increases that are there. And unless we're going to have these funds stand completely independent and make no transfers, and then they get to live or die on their own merit, then you have to make the cuts on the other side to offset the increase on this side. So it's net neutral.
Thank you, Rich.
If I may go back, Commissioner Valentine, I just wanted to maybe make a clarifying comment about the sales tax. I know we mentioned ordinance, but remember that, again, was before our times here, most of us, maybe all of you guys too. That was actually done through an election, and that's an interlocal agreement between us and the county and the other taxing entities.
Okay.
So if there was
Has
a
to
change,
state it.
yeah, and so, well, it could be changed, but it would probably take either an amendment to the interlocal agreement or a new election criteria, or both. So just something to keep in mind, not saying it's an impossibility, but,
Well, there's a cost to that, too.
yeah, true, yes. But yeah, I'm just throwing that out there for a point of clarification. It's not just as simple as you all making an ordinance change and saying instead of 1%, we're going to transfer 5% or something like that.
Okay,
So just putting that out there.
okay, thank you. Thank you.
Well, I think it's interesting that maybe the last point I'll make, because we seem to not be getting anywhere, because I don't think there's, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't say that, but I hope there's interest in looking at areas we can cut. In 2026, if we postpone making that extra payment each year in 2026, citizens will not see a decrease in their bill. Full transparency. I feel like most of this is an uphill battle, and I don't know that I'll run another term because I get tired of going home every day and feeling like I'm fighting against everything. And long term, yeah, Wichita probably is a solution for us because I'm getting tired of paying it here, and an 8 mil increase is quite a bit. But in 2026, if we do not pay the extra payment every year, if that's what the commission decides on, and I've always been one to say if the commission decides it, I'll go with it. Well, if the commission decides this way, I can guarantee you I won't vote for it. And I won't say the commission decided this time. I'll say whoever commissioners decided that, because I don't think it's the right thing to do. But just to be clear, for all of our citizens, that in 2026, you will not see a decrease on your bill if we don't keep making the extra payment. Because what we've said is that if we make the extra payment now, you'll see that 38% fee fall off, which is a big portion of people's bill. I mean, that's a huge part of it. And,
Disagree.
and well, okay, then it's not the best solution.
I believe it is, but that's my.
It requires zero work from the city, Kathy. Zero. They're not having to make any cuts anywhere. All they're doing is they're robbing Peter to pay Paul in this. I mean, this is the definition of robbing Peter to pay Paul. I'm going to take it out of this pocket and put it into this pocket and say I've ended up with the same thing when we haven't. 1.3 million more in interest.
Well, I'm going to go back to what I said before, and I've been on this commission since 2015. And I know how many years that is, and I know how many budgets that I have sat through. And I've been so grateful for the work of the city staff and helping the commission through those times. But when you go through all those years without any increase at all, you are going to have to face the music at some point.
Well, that's past commissions, and I don't think I would be real proud of the fact that I've been on since 2015 if we're in the situation we're in today.
Well, I'm one of 5. And oftentimes I have been in a minority, but I'm still one of 5, and I'm still serving, and I'm still thankful for the opportunity to serve. But not all those decisions that have been made throughout the years have been 5-0 on everything. And that's just common sense.
27% of our customers will not be able to have any control over keeping their bill lower. They pay the minimum. So the minimum goes up even for 27% of our customers. So let me read this email to you. First of all, thank you very much for the work you do in representing Newton citizens. I can't imagine how much detailed information you have to process all the time. I don't appreciate or pray for you all enough. It was very good to attend the work session last Tuesday evening concerning water rates. As I've thought more about it, I realized a couple things I wanted to share. For my gas bill, I do the following to keep the bill as low as possible. Put plastic on all windows, cover air conditioner, pull a throw rug over bottom of front door every night, close off second bedroom unless having overnight guests so I don't heat that room, turn thermostat down to 66 at night when I leave, etc. For the electric bill, I do the following to keep my bill as low as possible. Use an electric fan in each room, often in the window, open windows almost every night, move my bed where I can catch a night breeze. When house temperatures reach 86 degrees, run the old window air conditioner for a couple hours along with fans, etc. But when it comes to my water bill, there's nothing I can do to lower my bill. I use the minimum amount or less than the minimum amount, ? Unless I host guests for a week or I choose to water my flowers and garden a little more. I have no water conservation plan because there's nothing I can do. My bill is always going to be $90.28 unless it's more due to use. Therefore, I have no control over my bill. When I look at my other utility bills, I have choices. When it comes to my water bill, I feel stuck. Furthermore, I never know exactly how much water I use, unlike the gas and electric bill, so there's no incentive to use less because I never know if I did use less. Even when my summer bill says I use 300, I don't know whether that means I use 252 or whether I use 348. If I pay a late fee, the water fee is higher than the late fees for gas or electric. Plus, the shutoff process for water is more severe than process for gas or electricity. In addition, sewage is a non-tangible item. Of course, it's very important, but I very seldom deal with sewer problems, so it's very hard to even consider the $34.96 plus $13.28 sewer charge as important to me. And trash, I only use the service once or twice a month because my 3 to 4 little Dillon's bags hardly cover the bottom of my trash bin. And yet I'm charged the same basic amount as neighbors who utilize 1 or 2 full bins every week. It just doesn't make sense to me. I realize expenses occur because the truck comes by my house every week, but I don't need it to come by. It intrigues me that I hear many more comments about the water bill than about high gas or electric bills. I wonder whether one of the core issues for us citizens comes down to feeling controlled by the city. In addition to the above comments, part of that may involve the way I unconsciously view the 3 utilities. With the gas and electric bills, I see them as independent companies. But the relationship I have with the city is this is my city and this is how I'm being treated. I never put that into words before, but that seems like it might be an accurate summation. To summarize, there's nothing I can do to lower my bill. I have no control over my bill. I never know how much water I use. The late fees and shutoff fees are more stringent. It's very hard to be aware of the value of sewer. I make very little trash and yet pay a base rate every month, $24.37. My relationship with the city is different than with companies, yet it seems there is less leeway and more control. We fix the problem by reducing, this is my words, we fix the problem by reducing our spending, not postponing anything. That minimum is still that minimum, and it's going to go up for 27% of our customers, and there's going to be nothing they can do to pay less. I use an exuberant amount of water. My last bill was $349, just got it a couple days ago. And I water my yard with it. I have some fish tanks at home that we change water in often. I acknowledge that I pay that. I could choose to do less if I wanted to. I could lower my bill down to probably, I think in the winter months when I'm not watering my yard, it's about $170 to $190. But for those 27% of our customers, they matter. And I don't feel like we're doing anything for them when we postpone this, because they will not see relief on their bill. And there's nothing they can do to control that. So again, I'm back to where the solution is in the spending. And to me, it doesn't involve that extra payment. I have more emails if anybody wants to read them. I'll be glad to. I took the rest of the day off, so. Many of these people said they couldn't come today because of work and other situations, but I wanted to make sure they had a chance to speak, and so I've collected all of them. Maybe I'm doing a disservice by not reading them, but they say the same thing. I even asked for people that supported an increase to reach out to me. I haven't found anybody yet. I guess if there's citizens, I don't know, anybody else from the commission want to say something? If not, we'll give, I know there's some citizens here today, and I want to respect that. We'll give them a chance to speak.
I don't think, I'm just assuming then, and we don't have Leroy here today, and I think it's important that he gets up to speed on our discussion. And then I guess we are going to have to visit this again, but I am certainly advocating for no changes as far as any increases that we bill our customers for the year of 2023. I am very interested in what you can do with regard to the transfers. Just for a year, that gives us some time to continue to look at this. It gives our citizens some time to, not that they're going to get used to it, but assimilate the increase, that 8 mil increase into their budget. I mean, again, I know what that will do for us. So I'm where I'm at.
Well, we're not at a point to take any action today anyways. We had 2 budget amendments earlier, so we would have to go through the process of making reductions elsewhere and canceling the transfers and all of that, right?
You wouldn't have to do budget amendments. You're not expending over your authority. That's the only
Okay.
time you have to do an amendment.
You only have to do the amendment.
If you go
over.
spend under it, that's fine.
To your point, sir, I think the process would be, if that is the desire of the governing body as a whole, you would just direct us to not make those transfers for the 23 budget when we get to that point. And then what I'm hearing you all say collectively is, if we don't make those transfers, obviously that hurts general fund to the point of 1.2 million or whatever, and we got to figure out in general fund what would need to be done away with or cut out. Is that accurate?
And I think it's important. I don't want a sky is falling approach. That's often what it seems like, that, oh my goodness, we're going to lose police, we're going to lose fire, we're going to lose services, our roads are going to deteriorate, and we're all going to be living in slums, and City Hall's going to fall apart. That's not the case. So let's be reasonable in where we find those cuts. I don't know if it's that we have some kind of seasonal support staff or something. I don't know. I'm not. We provide the direction. You guys do the work, and you guys do good at it. So I think that you can. And
Yeah,
that's
to your
where
point,
I would like to see it, yeah.
Absolutely. To your point, again, you do not have to make decisions today, and to Commissioner Valentine's point, I would hate for Commissioner King not to be part of whatever final decision is
Oh,
made,
yeah.
if that's the direction of the
Yeah, no,
governing
there's no
body.
decision being made today. So.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. Nope. And we did not intend for there to be. We knew that
Yeah.
there was a lot of things, going on, and again, because it was a holiday week, we knew Commissioner King was going to be absent. We just wanted to continue the discussion for multiple reasons.
On the 38%, was that put into a resolution? Was that just a policy? Talk to me about the origin of that
I
and
think it's
how it was
resolution.
worded.
Resolution.
I think it was a
fund.
It would have had to have been.
That's how you change rates or do anything with
Okay.
rates.
By a
with the-
resolution.
We don't have the authority to do that unless you guys vote to tell us to do it.
Okay. Can you get us that resolution?
For that, and I'll try and get it to you yet today while you're in executive session and that kind of stuff. I will say the other one that they did when they did the increase of the 1%, that was done by a resolution
Right.
as well. And that resolution number is G949, and that was done 3/14/2006. That was for the extra 1% sales tax.
And then there was one for to offset the 2017 and the 2018 rate increase.
Correct.
I need that one too.
Okay.
Done.
Okay, any citizens, I want to respect the fact that you showed up today. If you want to come up and speak, if you'd come up and just state your name and address for us, and we'll let you speak. Unless you feel like what you want to say has already been said, that's fine as well, so.
Do you want me to write this down too?
No, you don't need to. You can just state your name and address. Yeah.
Okay, I'm Kathy Anderson. I live here in Newton, and I'm a householder that pays property taxes. I am curious to know, does the city have any authority to collect anything from the large quantity of nonprofits who do not pay property taxes, and it says we just can't do anything about it? Is that's right?
Well, I'm shaking my head. I'm sorry, I don't mean to answer your question. Yes,
yeah.
ma'am. So any entity that would be a true nonprofit and truly tax exempt, they are exempt under state statutory regulation.
States.
Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
okay.
Yep, and they have to meet certain criteria to be a 501c3 or church,
Right.
schools, hospitals, those assisted living centers. Now, some are privately held, so I don't mean to make that a blanket
Right.
statement.
Right.
But yes, anyone who is exempt, they actually get that exemption from the state of Kansas.
Thank you. That's
Which-
helps me understand, because Newton has a lot of
Yeah.
those organizations.
We have a very significant, I mean, that is
Yeah.
30-ish% is significantly high for any community, especially one of our size.
It's important to note that so many of those nonprofits too, if they weren't here, the city or other government agencies would bear the burdens of the benefits that they provide. I mean, our food banks, and I always think about some
Yeah.
of our smaller ones that work with children and churches and those, I mean, so they're worth, and I'll say too, a little bit to what you said, that I've defended our rates in the past. I still recognize they're high, but I've defended them for that very reason. And I was employed for over 10 years by one of our nonprofits here in town. And so,
Me too.
so I'm working in Wichita now, but yeah, I mean, I recognize that we did not pay any property taxes. And so I've defended it. I will continue to defend it, which some citizens don't like that either, but.
Well, it does seem to be a gap that
There is.
that we can't do anything about. So that's a little bit hard, and I hope people understand that as well. So,
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Again, my name is Roberto Delgado. I'm a resident here in Newton. Look, you guys' jobs are very difficult, and I acknowledge that, and I appreciate the work that you guys are doing. Does the city have any regulation over wages for private companies?
No.
That's what I figured. However, I mean, for someone that's looking to expand or even come into the city limits, there's something that we can do in that aspect, right?
Well, if your question is in relationship to what we discussed earlier regarding full vision, we'll save those for another time.
No,
But,
it's
okay,
along the
if this
same-
has to do with water, then we'll talk about water and sewer right now. We're still on that item in our agenda. No, I mean, a private company is a private company. They can choose to pay the minimum wage or 10 times minimum wage. We don't have any control over that, and
Right.
nor do we have an interest in doing that.
Well, look, I agree that we have to bring in or work on economic development. However, the majority of the people that live here in Newton don't, well, I wouldn't say the majority of them, but a good group of high-earning workers don't work in the city of Newton. Anyone care to tell me our biggest employer is?
School district, I believe.
Private?
Private, I'm not sure. Yeah, I assume the cabinet shop,
At the hospital.
hospital.
The hospital.
Is it? Okay. Well, around up there is AGCO.
Yeah.
all right? We represent the workers at AGCO.
Sure.
And I can tell you that the wages that we earn there, the contracts that we're able to negotiate for our workers, certainly make it a possibility for us to be able to live in a city like Newton and pay the water that we currently have, right? Granted, it's not a favorable place to be. I'm with you on that. But it has to matter for something, right? I mean, if yeah, we want to get new places to be, new jobs and develop our city, but what good does that do us if the quality of that job is not being able to help us pay for, a good school and good water, whatever it is that we need within the city limits. I don't know. I don't have an answer for the problem today, but I can tell you that we're trying to do our part, and just that we do hear that concern of what our water is today. So I hope that we can come to or find some type of an arrangement where it doesn't include an increase. However, it's foolish to think that it wouldn't come at some point. So
Thank you.
thank you.
Yep. You can come up.
My name's Christian Zernowski, and I just had one quick analogy to make. So Walmart sticks around because they've got the lowest prices around, and as a city, we're not going to keep citizens around if we don't have lower water rates. If we keep raising these rates, people are going to just go to Wichita. And I've got a pile of laundry at the end of my bed that says putting it off till tomorrow is not a good idea.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? All right, anything else from the bench? If not, we'll move on.
So just a quick question then. On a suggestion such as mine, would you prefer then, because we aren't making any decisions, that when we come together in another meeting, that we offer these suggestions again?
No, I can hear what you're saying,
Okay,
and I can, we'll start looking at
okay,
what it would look like to do something like that. So
Okay.
you need to know what you're going to get, the outcome's going to be.
right, okay. Thank you.
I might add here at the end, I think everybody needs to realize that all the commissioners care, for what we get paid, and I mean, you would have to care to do this job, and even though some of us are more passionate than others, I think you really need to understand that we're not here to hurt you, and we're just trying to figure out a way to make Newton a better place to live, not just today, but 25 years from now. But probably I've never worked with a group of commissioners that have cared more than these commissioners, and I've been a councilman in another community too. So that's my thought I want to leave you with is we're not trying to hurt anybody. We don't think that we know everything. It's really important to us that and we value what you have to say. I'm glad to finally meet you. We've emailed back and forth from time to time, and good to finally put a face. Yeah. But we do care, and we're trying hard. And the cool thing about it, Clint and I are still going to be friends when we walk out of here. I have a more numerical approach, and maybe not as apt I totally understand. I don't come from a rich family, and when I had to move my mom out of her house because she couldn't pay her bills after Dad died, that had a big impact on me. And I do have a very compassionate heart, and for anyone to think that we don't care, they're just wrong. So I'll leave it at that.
You have anything you want to add, Rich? Okay, me neither.
Commissioners, can I give you those ordinance numbers
Sure.
Okay. So it's 4827-13, and that was the sewer increase. And then 4830-13 had the sewer rate increase plus the 38%. And I can send those out to you later this afternoon.
What was the second?
Please.
38.
4830-13.
-13, okay. Cool.
All right. Item 9 is citizens forum. However, I don't have the sheet. Donna, can I have it? There's no one on it. Okay, thank you. Chris, do we need an executive session?
We could do a short one, just maybe 10 minutes.
Okay, and there will not, for the public, there will not be any decisions made after this, so we'll come in and close the meeting, and that's it. So you guys feel free to leave. You don't have to stick around unless you really want to, so. How long?
We can come back at 2 o'clock.
Okay,
2 o'clock? Okay. You want me to read this?
go ahead.
You do it better than any of us.
Wow. Okay, I move that the city commission recess into executive session to conduct discussions with legal counsel. The justification for closing the meeting is to consult with the city attorney to discuss matters privileged under the attorney-client relationship. And the time and place at which the open meeting shall resume is 2 p.m. here in City Commission Room, City Hall. Second. Was there a second on that?
I got a second.
All right, there's a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Thanks.
Kathy's like, don't leave me hanging.
And if you have questions,
Okay. Thank you, Donna.
We have to wait till 2 o'clock, right? Yeah, so, okay.
I know,
That's right.
but you pay me for to follow the rules.
We done?
Not yet.
Seconds.
30 seconds.
Thank you for the calendar.
Yeah.
Did they turn out nice?
My wife will have really enjoyed, she uses it every year. Well, let me go.
Where you go?
Last night.
I'm
Really wanted to see
exhausted.
Charlie, I haven't seen him for a while.
Oh, we didn't do closing remarks. We'll start with Commissioner Stinnett.
Happy Thanksgiving. Be safe.
There we go.
I've said enough.
Commissioner Cry.
Tonight.
Okay. Kelly?
Just a reminder that the city facilities will be closed Thursday and Friday for the holiday. So if you need something, give us a call before then.
Chris? No, sir. Thank you. Okay. Suzanne?
No, sir.
Donna?
nope.
Commissioner Valentine?
I am thankful for you all and the work that you do, every single one of you. Thank you very much.
Okay, and I'll just close with happy Thanksgiving. It'll be here soon. All right.